All right. Is Spider Pop Arcade's open and we're gonna fucking put the final nail in the coffin that is the Leo route because oh my god, I just want this to fucking end already. So I'm here with Blanc and oh look, I accidentally clicked the gallery. Oh, why are we drowning? Oh, why? Why?
Why?
Well, that was a dumb question to ask, wasn't it? All right. Okay. It's last day.
Right
Shit's hit
back
the
into
wall. And we're gonna try to find our friends while the town's going fucking crazy. I also have some hot tea here because my sinuses are not in the best shape right now. All right, we try to keep off the road in the brush on our way to Duke's house. Despite our situation, the biggest thing on my mind right now is ticks. Funny how the mind works. I mean, Lyme disease is no laughing matter. The faint shouts and yells coming from the town are more frequent now. Another pop comes from that direction. Reminds me of the gun Kudzo has tucked into his waistband. He's never used one before, and it took us a solid couple of minutes to decide if he should even stick it there. Another pop. I can't help but think that's where the motel is, where Jenna might be. Here, though, not much is out of place aside from the smell of the smoke and the breeze. That is until we come across a body hanging from a tree about 100 yards from Duke's house. Hold on. I need to Jamie Lee Curtis drink this drink. Okay. I'm the first to notice it, and when I do, I gasp and instinctively reach for Kudzu. He catches my hand, looks up as he holds to me. It's high up, maybe 50 feet? Jesus. But the markings on the fur, I think it's a fox. Oh, Jesus. All right, you're reading him. Kudzu whispers next to me as I look away, feeling my stomach turn again.
What the hell? How did he get up there?
I look back and see that he's hanging by his wrist. I don't think he could have done that by himself.
Yeah.
We both stare up at him for a little while longer, long enough to notice a long vertical slashes down his back.
Those are the same cuts I saw on the other guy.
Oh shit. Kudzu whispers distractedly. But who put him up there? Kudzu's silent and I keep staring up at the guy, the first dead guy that I've ever seen. Suddenly, all the motivation to get Leo starts to evaporate. He rests my hand on my shoulder and I jump.
Sorry.
Kudzu pats me.
You alright? I'll take you back, okay?
That sounded like the best idea in the world right now. I hesitate. But it probably is. When I think of Leo, I imagine him being in the same situation as I was with Brian. Duke didn't seem as fucked up, but I have no idea what he's capable of. That thought makes it feel as if my heart is dripping through the ground, so I grip my teeth and shake my head. No, I'm okay. Kudzu looks at me, then nods. Okay. Let's move back towards the road, though.
Oh my god, Gordon, please!
What?
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm getting excited. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's move back towards the road, though. I don't think anyone is around right now anyway.
I want to move towards the road, too, mainly because I'm actually starting to worry that moving further away from town is really dangerous. Duke's house is dark as we approach it. As we get closer, though, I see flashes of light from a window well. We both crouch next to the house behind the small cluster of sagebrush.
Alright, so all I can really think to do is knock on the door and see if he's here.
I swallow.
You'd stay hiding, of course, but if he does come out, I don't know, I might try to put him down right there.
And I'd come out and help. Dude lets out a low chuckle.
Yeah, but again, I'm not sure if that's what I'll do. We might be able to talk him out of this.
Yeah. I have much faith in that plan.
But if he isn't there, we'll probably go in and find Leo, alright?
Okay. My heart rate picks up as I realize how close we are to making this happen. I start to have second thoughts. Maybe we should have at least looked for the sheriff. Maybe you should have gone straight to the motel.
Alright.
I can tell Kudzu is nervous too as he wipes his hands on his tank top before standing up slowly.
Just watch from here, If he comes out with his gun, though, I'm not gonna try anything.
He hesitates.
And if I get shot or something, don't help. Just run back to the house and start looking for your other friends, I guess.
I'm really starting to feel unprepared for all of this. Everything is moving way too fast. There isn't really any time, though. We have to save Leo as soon as possible. No telling what Duke might be doing with him. Jutsu starts to move away. I get urge to hug him. Aw.
Mm.
Wait, is he secret, like, route? I'm down to take this. He seems to be the only sane one.
He is very sane. He is a good boy.
Ugh, sweet. Okay, he's done so much for me already, saving me and now trying to save Leo. But by now he's already halfway across the yard of the house. Hold my breath and watch as Kudzu's dark form melds into the blackness of the house. It's like he's being swallowed up by it in a way. After a few moments, I hear him knock on the door. I listen, trying to breathe through my mouth instead of my whistling nose so I can better hear what's going on. Knocks again much more loudly.
Hey, it's Kud. I need some help.
Look up down the road, worried someone's going to hear his shouting. The slight rustling behind me, and I look back eyes wide. I don't see anything at first, but I feel like there's a shape behind another grove of sagebrush about 20 feet back. Something crouched, the moonlight deafening its shape through the brush. I squint, completely stopping my breathing. It looks like it has a tail, a really thick one, like an otter. Oh no. Was it Dale? I can't even tell if it's really a person though. Is it are we
Great.
finally gonna fucking see it? Kudzu whispers, shouts, and I jump before stumbling on my feet. The shape behind me doesn't move at all, and I try to reassure myself it's probably a rock. Over to Kudzu as he tries the door, trying not to think too much about what I just saw.
Locked.
Sorry. He looks around for a while, then starts moving down the side of the house.
Look for a window.
Are we gonna break one?
Maybe. Should only take us a few minutes to sweep the house, and then we can get the hell out.
We quickly spot a window in the back of the house. He looks in and bites his lip.
I'm just worried that Duke might still be in there with a gun or something.
Bends over, picking up a sizable rock.
Well, not much choice. If I say run, run. Got it?
I nod and Kudzu lifts the rock above his head before smashing it through the window. The sound is probably the loudest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Ugh. I cover my own ears, like that's going to lessen the sound. Kudzu jumps to the side away from the window, reaching back to hold on to me. And Kudzu's body frizzes up, and I see his ears perk up as far as they can go. Once the final tinkling of the glass subsides, we both listen. My ears are ringing, but the only other sound I can hear are the chirping of the crickets. Finally, Kudzu lets out a soft breath.
All right, let's go.
I help him push out a few shards of glass. Once that's done, the raccoon hoists himself inside, very carefully maneuvering around the sharp, broken edges. He turns and reaches out to me, helping me through in the same fashion. Even though I'm trying to be careful, when I bring my arm in, it jags along the jagged edge of the glass sticking out from the side. Of course, I grimace, the fiery pain taking a moment to really set in.
Shit, you okay?
Grabs my wrist so I can pull my arm up to examine by moonlight and sucks in a breath.
Oh, fuck. You might need stitches for that.
Fuck. But I see all the blood starting to ooze up from the fur. It's only about an inch long. Well, at least it's short. Or
Yeah.
small. The amount of blood coming out is surprising. Damn it, I'll take care of it after we find Leo. Pull my arm away despite Kudzu still trying to take a look at it.
All right. I'll see if we can find something to wrap it up in.
We're in a critical state right now. Just tear off a chunk of your shirt and just wrap it.
Yeah.
Take your shirt off, Kudzu.
Take off your shirt, Kud.
Kudzu sits something along the wall and finds the light switch. I'm surprised to see a fairly quaint and tidy home. Unlike Kudzu's trailer, though, there's barely anything in it. There's a single sofa, a very old-fashioned TV, in what I presume is the living room. There's a fireplace and a few dirty-looking chairs on the other end of the room. In front of us is a long hallway with a few doors on both sides. All right, check
Alright,
every
check
room
every
and
room
door.
and
Sorry,
door.
fuck.
It's not a very big house. It's all good. I know.
I'm really anticipation's
It's
killing me.
nerve-wracking.
Kudzu sets off down the hall. God, it's like I hadn't
Look
even.
for stairs. I feel like you'd be in the basement.
It feels like I haven't even. It hasn't been that long since I last played this.
Well, it hasn't
PTSD.
really.
Oh, that's true.
It was Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, what's going on here? Music. As Kudzu goes into the room to the left, I peer into the one on the right. Looks like a bedroom with a single twin in the middle of the room. I take a few steps in, looking around, not seeing anything else. When I turn back around, I see some picture frames hung up on the wall. It's kind of odd for someone like Duke to have those up. The pictures, I see a much, much younger Duke, or at least a pre-meth Duke. Next to him is a female weasel, her smile small compared to Duke's tooth-bearing grin. She's in 3 other pictures next to that one too. Weird. I wouldn't have thought anyone would want to be with Duke, especially someone as pretty as that weasel. We went to the next room, and this one's completely empty, painted white. The next door is the last one on the right side of the hall. This is the only door that's closed, and like the last room's walls, it's painted white. It's taller and seems a bit thicker than the other doors. When I try the knob, it's locked. Kudzu? Why is our heart beating? I whisper, and Kudzu pokes his head from the door just behind me.
What's up?
And at the door in front of me. This one's locked. He stands in front of the door and presses his ear to it. I see his hand hover in the front of the crack between the door and its frame. Then he reaches out my hand and pulls it to the same spot. He looks at me.
You feel that?
About to say no, but that's when there's a noticeably cooler draft coming from within. It's kind of cold.
The basement. I bet my ass that Leo's down there.
I swallow. Hold on.
Oh goodness. Excellent timing.
The anxiety. Well, there's gonna be options coming up, and I'm not gonna help. I'm not gonna help them. I'm not gonna help
Oh
them.
goodness gracious.
Life and death situations. So.
I love hot
Oh,
water. I'm
God.
gonna definitely need. Come on. Ow! It's not scalding hot, thank goodness. All right, back to this. Should we try to break down the door or something?
I don't.
Because his ears suddenly perk up straight and his eyes widen. My fur bristles out. What? That's when I hear it, the crunching of gravel. Grabs my hand and starts pushing me back down the hall towards the back of the room with the broken window. That moment I hear the knob turn, suddenly my path changes direction as Kudzu steers me into the room on our left. It's one of the rooms I hadn't looked into myself, and I see that it's a storage room. Boxes are everywhere, and so is a bunch of junk. I guess that explains why all the other rooms are spotless, and that he's not using his basement for storage. Kudzu looks around desperately for a moment, then pulls me behind a mound of boxes just as I hear the door swinging open. The problem ain't that he got away. Duke is practically screeching when he comes inside. If he's been waiting to be indoors before he yelled. Underneath Duke's pattering feet on the wooden floor, I hear 2 loud thumps and know immediately who's with him. My blood runs cold and my breathing seems to stop, worried that they'll be able to hear even that. If he's behind all this, he's gonna make things so much worse. I hear a non-committal grunt from the bear, and I shudder at the sound of his voice again. Feel a light touch on my back as Kudzu rests his hand there, trying to comfort me. What do you mean, huh? You like the dreams they're having right now? Because trust me, It's gonna get a hell of a lot worse. I hear a smacking sound, which I imagine is Duke's tiny hand trying to slap Brian in the face. Fuck are you staring at? Duke's great and easily voice echoes around the carpetless house. Yo, window. The moment of silence as I hear something shifting around, then suddenly I hear Duke's footsteps bustle down the hall. I duck more deeply behind the boxes as he passes the doorway and up to our room. Fuck. Fuck, is someone fucking in here? Brian's lumbered down the hall, basically standing right in front of our room. I hear two more thumps and a bunch of wrestling as Duke effectively beats at the bear's bulk. Fucking idiot, they broke in! I hear a jingling of keys as Duke continues to shout. Like every fucking room, I bet they broke through the basement window too. Fuck. Now that he says it, breaking through the basement window might have been a better idea. Looking between a crack in the boxes, I get a flash of the weasel walking past the door again. He's holding something long and shiny. It's probably a shotgun. I shrink back against the boxes, wondering how in the world I got here. As I stare at the ground, I also wonder if I'm about to have a heart attack. I focus on watching the blood seep from my arm, pulling on
Oh,
the.
God.
Oh God!
They're
What
gonna
did
do
I
betrayal,
say?
aren't they?
He could go into the lock and the doorknob turn. I swear to God, if that wolf ain't down there, then I'll blow your goddamn face off. Duke's voice fades away, accompanied by receding footsteps down the stairs. The heavy footballs of Brian's, what is it? Footfalls of Brian start to move around slowly toward the other end of the hall. He moves his hand up to my shoulder. I look at him and he holds up a finger to his lips when he points in the direction of the broken window. I don't want to move at all. In fact, I'd rather sit here and just disappear into the floor. Somehow, though, I'm able to force myself to my feet and Kuzo takes me up. Very slowly to the doorway where Kutsu holds up my hand, making me pause. I watch his ears perk, flickering in the direction of Brian. My hearing probably isn't nearly as good as his, but I'm still able to pick up the bear's heavy labored breathing. I hear some shuffling, then more heavy footsteps. Kutsu freezes as we both listen to the bear move back in the hallway when his footsteps fade away. I imagine he's moved to another room, and that when Kudzu finally peers around the corner, I hold my breath, but Kudzu reaches back and grabs my wrist, pulling me out of to the hallway. Emptying quietly and quickly as we can, we move to the end of the hall to stand next to the broken window. He sticks out one leg in the window before bouncing his entire weight on both his hands that are resting on the bottom ledge. Like a gymnast, he moves the other leg and quietly drops to the ground outside, his head narrowly missing the top ledge. I don't know if it's because he's a raccoon or an actual gymnast, but there's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to do that. He's already reaching for me, though, his eyes wide with frantic worry. I can hear shuffling sounds behind me again, coming from one of the rooms. Kudzu reaches out towards me, then suddenly waves my hand wildly in the direction of the room right next to me. Heart pounding, I almost stumble through the door into the room.
Uh-oh.
This one has a few chairs stacked up against the side of the wall and what looks like a closet door. Rand's footsteps thump down the hall and almost gasp as I get a glimpse of his massive shadow through the doorway. And when it disappears, as I hear his footsteps move to the room right next to me. From just inside the room, I see Kutsu slowly pop back up in front of the window, then motion frantically towards himself. Ugh. My legs are like jelly, though, and I hesitate. Then there's a raspy dragging sound in the room next to me that almost makes me jump. And it's the sound of a cardboard box being slid across the floor. I hear Brian mumbling. Definitely not paint.
Uh-huh.
I force myself I force my numbed feet to start out into the hallway toward the window. Kutsu reaches for me. His eyes desperate, but then I hear the shuffling behind me again. Why is he moving so fast now? Automatically, I step back into the room while Kutsu continues to back into himself. Brian's lumbering footsteps move down the hall slowly in my direction. Kutsu has ducked back down out of sight. I'm alone and trapped. I remember the closet at the last minute and lunge forward to it, not having enough time to worry about the sound I make. Oh, the closet door glides with hardly a sound, as if the hinge had recently been greased. I step inside, swing the door shut, trying not to let it snap close. That exact moment, Brian's lumbering gait enters the room. Shook back against the wall, holding my hands to my mouth, trying not to breathe. My heart beats so loud it's the only thing I can hear as it pounds in my ears. Hear coughing and grunting coming from behind the door, then goes quiet. I wait unsure of whether the bear has left or not. Slowly, I walk up to the door, pressing the side of my head against it gently. I listen, trying to see if I could hear anything. I swallow, then reach up the rest of my hand on the doorknob. I think about making a run for it, maybe trying to dive through the window. I might get hurt, but if I'm able to get away, I wait for what feels like 2, maybe 3 minutes. Complete silence on the other side. I wait even longer to the point where I'm sure there's no way someone like Brian, would keep that quiet for that long. So slowly, I kind of push the door open, and it immediately comes into contact with something on the other side before it's even open. It's soft, whatever it is, and the door almost bounces back from it. I wait a moment, and I'm starting to realize what just happened. A massive bear paw reaches around the edge of the door. In the next half second, the door is ripped open, and I find myself facing Brian. A weird numbing feeling spreads down my crotch and into my legs, and I sag in front of the bear. My mind refuses to think, even process what my eyes are seeing. What it does process is pure terror. Brian seems to have trouble understanding what he's seeing as well. He stares at me for a few seconds, his eyes practically crossing as he focuses on me. Okay, I'm wondering if Brian thinks he's seeing whatever it is that's taking Chase's form.
Mm.
Then he grins. Hey, you. I can't
No
respond.
such luck.
Instead, I press back into the closet, flatten myself against the wall as he reaches out to me. Still, there isn't much I can do as he grabs the front of my shirt and yanks me out of the closet. He starts to pull me toward the doorway, and as I stumble into the hall, I'm finally able to start trying to move again. Seeing the window, I lunge toward it, but Brian's grip is too strong. I hear a few popping sounds as someone threads in my shirt to give out, and Brian yanks me back violently. Everything goes black as something massive knocks up against the side of my face, and the next thing I know, I'm thrown down the hall flat on my back. I'm staring at the ceiling, watching it slide sideways above me, like it's painted onto a treadmill. My right foot is hiked in the air, and I realize that Brian's dragging me along the floor now, back toward the end of the hall. The front of my black back glides easily along the hardwood, my shirt scorching up to my chest. Brian stops as he reaches the white door, pushing it open. Dizzily, I look up at the window, wondering if Kudzu is there and if he can see me. I reach towards it, but that's when I'm being dragged again. I land painfully on the first step. I gasp as I turn sideways so that as Brian drags me clumsily down the rest of the steps, my spine isn't taking the rest of the corners. It's dark and the air turns cool and musty. We finally reach the bottom of the steps, pain pulsing at various points of my body from the rough handling. Brian starts dragging me again, and I finally realize that he's going to have me trapped again. He'll do whatever his sick mind thinks up, and there won't be anybody there to stop him. No. I moan and try to grab something, anything to stop him from being pulled deeper into his basement. My hand manages to latch onto a wooden beam next to the stairs. Brian grunts as my body is snapped into full extension, and we're brought to a halt. Come on, let go. I keep clinging to the beam, imagining that at any moment Kudzu is going to come running down and the stairs, gun in hand, comes to an end as Brian kicks me in the chest, and I let go with a wheeze. You know, you're the one making this hard on yourself. He starts dragging me again as I curl up and cradle my chest, vaguely hoping that he'd given me a heart attack and that I'd be free from all this. I swear to God, if you're lying to me, Leo, I'm gonna paint the ceiling with your fucking brains.
Why am I still here if someone came in to save me then?
The sound of Leo's voice has me snapping my eyes open again. Well, it isn't quite as heartening as Kudzu barging in with a weapon. It's definitely relieving to hear his voice again. Back through another doorway into a brightly lit room, the fluorescent light buzzing overhead. As I come to a stop on the cement floor, the room goes quiet and I squint against the sudden light. The walls on all sides are covered in shelves that are filled with silver tins and soup cans. Storage room of some kind. Duke is standing in the middle of the room next to a metal chair staring at me, and that chair is Leo. Oh, we could have, battered him and bruised him a bit. I
We
figured.
don't know what situation he's in, to be honest.
Yeah, his arms are down at his sides, and I can see that they're both handcuffed to the sides of the chair. His feet are similarly strapped to the chair's legs. His face is one of shock as he also stares at me open mouthed. I stare back, even feeling weirdly self-conscious as everyone watches me. Duke breaks the silence. I knew it. Duke is snarling, but not at me. But he's looking at Brian, his lips drawn back as he growls. This is what the fuck happens. Brian scratches his head. What happens? Duke kicks the air with a foot before stamping down on the hard cement that makes up the floor of the room. Leo wasn't supposed to know he got away. Well, I caught him, so what's the difference? Duke lunges at Brian, swinging his arms a few times to beat his fists uselessly against the bear's bulk. I fetches back anyway, letting go of my foot. Leo's staring down at me, mouth slightly less open, and I have no idea what's going on in his mind right now. I suddenly realize how stupid I was to come here with Kudzu. Sure, saving Leo as soon as possible was important, but why had I thought we could have done it alone? I'm in my car right now, halfway to Peyton, 20 minutes away from the cops. That I'm in Duke's basement about to be murdered. I slowly sit up, just as Duke seems to finish his beating of Brian. Gasping, he turns to me. Like, well, if you're here, I guess we'll just have to make use of you. He waves his hand loosely between me and Brian. Pick him up.
Wait a second. Just...
Shut up. Brian picks me up roughly, almost encircling my chest with his hands alone as he pins my arms to my sides. He holds me in front of Leo, and Duke stands to the side between us. It's only now that I notice the puffiness in Leo's left eye, some crusted blood near his brow, with some more coming from his lower lip. It's not terrible, but it's clear he's been hit a few times. As I watch him, I can see the fear in his eyes reflected back at me. That alone almost scares me more than the whole situation we're in. Not smirking anymore, are ya? Duke bares his teeth in Leo's direction. Been trying to wipe it off your face this whole time, and it turns out this was all I needed to do it. Duke gestures at me. You're a little fuck otter, huh? Leo chooses his eyes and shakes his head. Closes his eyes and shakes his head. He mumbles it almost to himself. Duke leans closer to the wolf.
Why didn't you run if you got away?
Opens his eyes and he's looking straight at me. I don't know if he expects me to answer, but the look of defeat in his face makes me feel like I have to. We wanted to save you. We didn't know where you were or what was happening. Duke suddenly leans away from Leo towards me, his eyes narrowed. We? Who's we? Fucking idiot.
Oh God.
I feel my stomach drop as I realize that what I've just done. I mean, all of us. I saw some of my friends out there before I came here, but I'm alone. Duke studies me closely. Was there anyone else up there, Brian? Brian is looking behind me, letting go of my shoulder occasionally to rub his chin. Didn't see nobody except this otter. Duke looks up at the ceiling like he's listening for footsteps or something. Duke? Sorry. Duke snaps his attention back to Leo, and I notice his face is practically dancing with twitches and ticks.
This is crazy.
He enunciates each word through gritted teeth, his muzzle lowered so that he's looking up at Duke eye to eye.
Look at this. Look at everything you've done. It makes no sense.
Duke lets out a high-pitched laugh. Crazy? You know what's crazy? Duke gestures at me again. Ask him what he saw out there. Duke turns to face me, swinging his hand from me to Leo. Go on, tell him. He doesn't believe me. The corner of Duke's eyes seem to have a mind of its own. Like there's some kind of living creature under the surface writhing around. Was it a little crazy? I stare at Duke, enticing until Brian gives me a quick jerk. I say a body. There were gunshots. Duke giggles. And that ain't the half of it. Houses of fire, people eating each other. You think I'm crazy for shooting Janice, but if you knew.
But how the hell are we supposed to know why that is?
Leo leans forward as far as his bonds let him, uh, eyes wide, almost pleading with Duke. This started when you got here. Duke lowers his face dangerously, leaning back towards Leo, their noses almost touching.
That doesn't mean a shit.
Leo speaks haltingly back at the weasel. Does this? Duke suddenly pulls the gun from the waistband of his pants and points it straight to my face. I'm barely able to comprehend it before Brian jumps to the side with me, out the way of the gun. Fucking Christ, Duke! Don't point it at me. Leo almost stands up as his toes, with the chair still attached to his body, fur bristled out all over his body. Duke's lowered the gun, though, still watching Leo. Leo slumps back in the chair, trembling.
Just stop, Duke. I don't know anything.
Duke stares for a moment at the wolf, frowning. Then he looks down at his gun and is contemplating something. Slowly he looks at me and then puts the gun at Leo's head. My heart jumps into my throat and Brian has to hold on to me as I try to hold out my hands. Wait, what are you doing? Maybe it's just you, Otter. What? It's you I always seen for you get was it? Yeah, it's you I was seen before you got here, and it was you I saw sneaking around at night. What the hell are you talking about? I feel myself start to panic as I see Duke's finger tighten around the trigger. I don't know what's happening. Leo's doing his best to keep his head out of line of fire, leaning his head as far to the side as he can. Duke doesn't seem to be paying attention to him, though, instead keeping his eyes on me. Just explain to me why you think it's me. Maybe I can help. It seems to get some sort of reaction out of Duke as he lowers the gun just a bit. I feel like we could have said this earlier, and it would have made this go a lot more swimmingly.
True,
Well, yeah,
but
there's
you're
a lot
at
of
the-
stuff.
Yeah, and Chase
A lot of
isn't
stuff happens
exactly.
in this game
Yeah, and then Chase
where
isn't
people
exactly.
had spoken earlier.
Oh God, right?
Uh-huh.
Because when you're kind of recaptured by your captors, the first thing is saying in your head, please God, no.
Yeah.
You're in panic mode.
The problem now, though, is that it's pointed at Leo's chest, and there's no way he can dodge that. Duke is studying me closely as I'm trying to figure out what to say. You know this has happened before. My mind races. The Mestacera thing, like 100 years ago? Yeah, that's right. See, how do you know that? He looks closely at me, but I'm relieved as he finally takes the gun away from Leo to be pointed at the ground. For a meth head, he's got good gun discipline. Ugh. Oh God, you'd be surprised how many gun accidents happen in this fucking country.
No, I wouldn't.
You know what? You're right. You wouldn't. I keep thinking of the gun rights activist lawyer who went into a room with what was it? Is it an MRE where they put you in that magnetic tube and take X-rays
yeah,
of your
PET
brain?
Scanner, yeah.
Yeah, Steph had told him repeatedly, "Hey, don't go in there with a gun or any sort of metal because this is
Any
a
sort of
very
metal.
powerful magnet." And no, what
Mhm.
happened was that when it turned on, it started pulling his gun up, and the trigger went off, and he shot himself in his fucking gut and died because he didn't want to listen to staff. Anyway, I did some research before coming here. I'm doing a news story on Echo for school. Duke is still eyeing me suspiciously. So you know about the murder. Trying to think back to my research about what exactly happened. It was a while ago now, and I planned to fill in the gaps when I got back to Pueblo. Kind of. It happened in the mine. Yeah, it did. And then people went nuts. I wait, but Duke doesn't go on, filling the air with awkward silence. I can see Leo's head looking back and forth, really trying to come up with a way to get out of this. I hope he's figuring something out because I have no idea what we're going to do, how we're going to do that. But do you know why? I'm trying to sift through Duke's psyche to figure out why he thinks this might be related to Leo and I. Duke's breathing has leveled off with his calmness. There's a feeling that we've managed to ride out the storm. My grandpapa lived through it all and stayed in the town after. Oh? I notice Leo's not looking around anymore. Instead, his eyes are trained on the door behind me, slightly to my right. I want to look back, but Duke seems distracted right now, so I try to help him engage. Yeah, it happened weeks after the body was found. Sort of built up till all hell broke loose. Leo nods his head slightly, his eyes still on the door, and my heart leaps in my chest as I realize what might be happening. Do you know why that was? Duke shakes his head. There's something bad in this town. The earth's bad, the air's bad, everything's tainted. So you think there's something in the air, water or something? I lean a bit to the left to try to keep Duke's eyes on me away from Leo at the door. I don't know about that. My grandpapa thought because they didn't catch the murderer, they planted some seeds in the bad dirt. Duke looks at the ceiling. I knew something. I grew something terrible. It wasn't until they killed the guy that it did it. Oh, that what? The guy that did it
You're
that
gonna have
it
to go
stopped.
back a few there because I could sort of missed a bit. Like
Oh.
him talking about planting something. I don't.
Yeah, his grandfather apparently lived through it, but he thinks because they didn't catch the murderer, things started going bad. Duke looks at the ceiling and grew something terrible. Okay, this I can't. I don't. Is he stuttering here? It wasn't until they killed the guy that did. Oh, that did it that it stopped. Okay,
Yeah.
that's news to me. I didn't read anywhere that the murderer had been caught. Duke looks back down at me. I don't know what it is. It's murder or guilt or not catching something that did wrong. I hear the softest sound of footpads against the floor behind me and pray that none of the others did. But it started when you got here. So you gotta forgive me for wondering if one of you did something bad. Ah, man. Is this second thing tied to Sydney's death?
I'm going to assume so.
Ah.
That somebody died and
Then,
bad things happen.
so this is raising more questions because TJ, well, it's kind of, the game kind of lets on that TJ might know something, but we don't know what that is. But that makes me wonder if, like, well, is TJ responsible, somewhat responsible for this? But then it's why is it taking the form of Chase? Duke starts to raise the gun again, and brought that guilt back. Oh, and brought that guilt back to this poison land to grow seeds again. Duke doesn't sound like himself at all, not even his recently crazed self. Still, though, I didn't want to admit it. I start to have an idea of what Duke might be getting at, how this all fits into our history. What was that kid's name a while back? That dad in the lake. He wasn't murdered. Sure about that? Yes. But I'm not, am I?
What?
I swallow hard, aware that some of the pieces don't fit despite how disturbing the implications are. But that was years ago. Why didn't it start then? Why now? He shrugs. Maybe he wasn't guilty till now. Maybe kids don't understand what they've done. Maybe it's because he left and it made it angry. But he wasn't murdered. You see it happen? No, but the person that did wouldn't ever do that. So I'm not talking to the wrong guy right now. Who was it? I look over at Leo again, swallowing hard. Who was it? Duke starts to raise the gun again, and what happened over the course of the next minute is too fast for me to comprehend until it's over. Leo explodes from his sitting position, face twisted with rage as he bares his teeth in full-on wolf snarl. Though his feet are handcuffed to the legs of the chair, he's still able to lunge off the ground with his feet. Launches himself at Duke, slamming into the weasel with a painful crunch of flesh on and metal on concrete. I gasp and I watch as Leo starts ripping into Duke with his teeth. Duke screams and flails his arms around, apparently forgetting his weapon as it flies from his fingers. The gun slides across the ground to tap against the wall just 5 feet from me. Brian keeps a tight grip on me, but that's when I hear the clicking sound behind me. Brian does too, and he turns sideways, allowing me to see the source as well.
Oh, no.
And there stands Kudzu, both hands on Leo's handgun as he points it up at Brian's head. It clicks uselessly though, and Kudzu's face is a mix of mess, terror, desperation, and confusion. The safe! God damn it!
Oh, come on!
Leo. Oh, my cousin just walked in. Oh, damn, everybody gonna die. Something's gonna happen. Leo is still struggling on the ground with the screaming Duke, lifting his mouth from the weasel's arm to shout at Kudzu. Kudzu's eyes snap to the gun in his hand, but Brian's already moving. He kicks Kutsu's hand and it connects violently, sending the gun flying into the air to clap against the ceiling. Brian lets go of me at that point, reaching out to catch the gun.
All right.
Oh,
This
God.
is a life and death situation, by the way.
Son of a bitch.
Critical thinking time.
Shit, accidentally clicked off. Okay. Well, if I have the gun... Shit.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking go for Duke's gun.
Go for it.
That makes sense to me, to be honest.
Wait, that probably doesn't have the safety on. Because it's
it probably
Duke.
would.
Yeah.
Because no one's fighting over Duke's gun, I realize that that might be my best chance. I lunge in the opposite direction. Clumsily, I scoop up the weasel's gun, turning it over my hands until I'm holding it the right way. Brian, my gun! Leo's still tearing away at the weasels as Duke holds them up in defense. I turn around, crouch back against the wall as I see Brian standing over a downed Kutsu. I can only pray that he hasn't killed him. I point the gun at Brian as he turns around to face me. Seeing that he's about to get shot, the bear lunges at me. Massive paws towards me. Luckily for me, the gun is loaded. Trying to keep myself steady, I manage to slide the safety and flick it off. I shoot him right through. Oh, God.
Oof.
The sound is so loud in that tiny room that my hearing goes out for a moment. Brian crumbles to the floor in the room and the room goes quiet. But only for a moment. An earthly howling sound comes from the bear as he slowly props himself on his hands looking back at me. For a moment, I wonder if the evil powers of Echo have just brought him back to life somehow. But no. The bloody hole just above his blunt nose and see the white of bone peeking through the red. Some of the bullet hadn't even pierced his skull.
What?
Shakingly, I raise the gun again, but Brian rolls away to the door with a speed that shouldn't be possible for a bear his size. He's gone. The bullet didn't penetrate his skull.
What sort of rinky-dink little pea shooter is Duke got in his hands?
Right? Hold on, I need some hot water. I stare for a moment, wondering if I should run after him, but a snarl next to me is me pointing the gun at Duke instead. Leo is still tearing into his arms as Duke hollers at the top of his lungs, trying to cover his face. Leo, stop! I've got the gun on him. Leo looks at me with wild eyes, pausing for a moment before slowly letting go of the muscled's arms, bloody drool hanging from his chin. Try to ignore that and keep the gun trained on Duke's head as Leo flops to the side in his chair. After seeing how little the bullet had affected Brian, I'm not so confident it will do much damage to Duke. Maybe bears just have thicker skulls, but I'm more worried about that the gun is just shit. Duke doesn't move though, as he lays back against the concrete, his eyes gasping for breath. His arms are at his sides, both of them leaking blood under the ground. Really did a number on them. He definitely needs to go to the hospital. My hand touches my shoulder and I jump. Look back and see that it's Kutsu.
Hey.
Matt?
Sorry, you okay?
Leo's gun hangs loosely from one of his hands. Kutsu, you fucking saved our lives. I grin at him as I almost sob with relief. I want to hug him, but I have to keep the gun on Duke.
Of course. I'm sorry I didn't stop him when he took you. I wasn't sure what to do.
He touches my shoulder again. I can feel him trembling. Don't worry about it. We're okay now.
Can someone get me out of these handcuffs, please? My arms are fucking killing me.
Killing you? You ripped mine apart. Duke is practically sobbing now, curling up on his side to hold his arms to his chest.
Fuck you, asshole.
Leo spits at him and he tries to adjust his position on the floor.
Where are the keys, Duke?
Duke takes in a shuddering breath and holds it for a few seconds before answering.
Right pocket. Ooh, that's you.
That's fine, I don't care. Kutsu walks over and kneels next to the weasel, sifting through his pocket. Keep an eye on the door.
On the door, Chase. In case Blubber Guts come back.
Gonna angle myself so I can keep an eye on both the door and Duke, even though I'm pretty sure the ladder is through at this point. Duke pulls the small metal key out before moving over to Leo, fumbling around for a good while before the handcuffs finally drop to the ground. Leo kneels there for a moment, wringing out his wrist. You okay? Smiles at me.
I'm a little sore, but I think I'll be all right.
Gets unsteadily to his feet, taking a pair of handcuffs out from him before bending quickly to give me a kiss on the head.
I'm so
Oh,
happy you're okay, Chase.
that
and
is not welcome here right now.
thank you.
He slaps the raccoon on the back before turning his attention to the weasel. Duke notices and quickly curls up tighter. I was just trying to
jeez.
help everyone. Ah! Leo grabs him by his bloodied arms before yanking him violently to his feet. The weasel screams double as the wolf twists those arms behind his back, handcuffing them.
Why the hell do you have so many handcuffs anyway?
Duke starts sobbing again until Leo whips him around and slaps him across the face. Duke sways, stunned by the power of the blow, before Leo brings a hand back and hits him on the other cheek.
Shut the fuck up.
Leo. Oh, that's
Leo.
you. That's good as he pulls the chair back up and throws Duke into it so violently it almost tips him over. Please, I'm
Yes,
sorry. I just want to help. Duke cowers as Leo raises his hand again. I realize how tightly I'm holding the gun, and though I'm pointing it at the ground now, I'm sure to take my finger off the trigger. Leo's
Sensible.
violence is a little disturbing. It's almost comforting to have him throw his weight around after how the weasel had treated us or threatened us. Kudzu, on the other hand, doesn't look comforted at all. He's still trembling from the earlier fight, and he's pulling at the fur on his chin as he watches Leo.
Careful, Leo. Let's just take him to the cops or something.
Who looks over his shoulder at the door.
Going to Peyton was probably a better idea, now that I realize how messed up everyone is.
Yeah. I mean, if
I
that
mean,
monster, they're all. Oh, right.
I mean, if that monster they're all talking about isn't real, would it have been better to risk that than get involved with these idiots?
I hadn't even thought about that supposed thing keeping everyone from leaving the town. It seems silly now that we'd let a stupid story like that keep us here. Leo doesn't seem to be listening.
You're a fucking lunatic, Duke. Why shouldn't I just kill you right now?
Jesus.
Leo!
He looks over his shoulder. One last red flag before the end, huh, Leo?
Mm,
Leo looks over his shoulder at us, finally shaking his head at Kuzo. Was it? Conspiratorially?
conspiratorial.
What? Kuzo goes silent as Leo goes back to staring down the weasel.
Now explain to us what the hell is going on.
Leo leans in closer with a body muzzle and Duke cringes back? Yeah.
Tell the truth and maybe I'll let you go.
Oh.
Leo glances at me.
I won't kill you at least.
He's trying to make it clear to me that he's just trying to scare Duke. At least that's what I hope he's doing. Already explained. Duke's eyes dart back and forth between us. The way he's kicking his feet around with high-pitched, whiny voice makes me think of a child. A really ugly, malnourished child. Still feel a little bad for him, though.
Remind me, because I was a little fucking distracted.
He saddles up next to me and sets his hand on my shoulder.
You want to watch the door?
I touch hand in acknowledgement and turn around to face the door. I don't really think Brian's going to be coming back, though. Claudia's something bad happened and we need to figure out what.
Yeah. Then how did kidnapping us help anything?
Duke sighs deeply and I glance over my shoulder to see him slumping in defeat. Last time this happened, it might have been caused by murder. Not the murder, but that the guy got away with murder. There was a moment of silence.
Okay.
Some demands that Duke go on. So the guilt from that guy, or the worry in the town, or just spirits, heck, I don't know. Maybe all that, but it came together to make everything go crazy.
Okay, sure, but how does this have anything to do with us?
I saw the otter sneaking around town before you says they got here. I look back again and see Duke looking at me. So is Leo. Seems kind of fishy to me, so I thought he might have something to do with it as do with it all. It was my own lead. Leo doesn't respond this time. I look back again and see that he's still looking at me. What is it? You told me yourself, Leo, that you saw him sneaking around too.
It was
Hmm.
someone else.
The hell did he know that? What are you guys talking about? Kudzu, can you watch the door? Finally turn around. Leo leans one hand on the back of Duke's chair as he sighs.
If you remember, Chase, I told you how I thought I saw someone out my window that looked like you.
Leo turns to glare back onto Duke.
Got drunk with this asshole and accidentally told him about it too.
We both saw it. Isn't that a little bit strange?
Some otter came by the town that looked like Chase. What the hell else was it?
Glances back at me and I feel like there's some doubt in his eyes.
I mean, you weren't here, right?
Of course I wasn't.
I know, I know. Just making sure.
Leo turns back to Duke.
Why would that mean anything anyway?
Duke looks around, visibly clenching his toes.
Oh, that's you.
I've heard stuff about doubles, like doppelhangers or something. Doppelgangers?
Doppelgangers.
Oh, there we go. Sure, but people talked about that shit happening back then, seeing themselves and stuff.
Okay, and so if we believe that shit, why would it mean he has anything to do with anything?
Well, my grandpapa said that the guy that did it was in 2 or 3 places at once sometimes. A moment of silence as we all absorb that bit of information.
Sounds like a load of shit to me, Duke.
Duke jumps up in his seat. I'm just telling you what I know.
So what's your solution to all this then?
Oh no, it stopped when they got the guy. Duke cowers in the chair, then glances at me. Leo follows his gaze, and his eyes turn steely. Duke seems to notice Leo's sudden change in demeanor, but before he can do anything, gets a massive slap from the wolf. Leo,
Leo, stop it.
Duke immediately starts sobbing again and curls on himself.
Me? This fucker wants to get at Chase.
Oh no.
Seemed that way. Did Duke think the only way to stop all this problem this time was to kill me?
Duke.
He tries a different approach, his voice much gentler than Leo's.
Good cop, bad cop.
Good cop, bad cop.
Is that Chase hasn't killed anyone, right, Chase?
Oh shit. Of course not. Oh no. Oh.
Oh!
Yay! Yay! Hold on, I have to click off this. I have to click
Click
off
the right
it.
one. It would be a bit silly if you went back to that robot voice again.
No, yeah, no, I don't want to do that one. Not for this. Oh, sweet. It's still there. It's still connected.
Of course not.
So maybe we need to rethink things a little, huh? Or maybe he can do that in a fucking jail cell. We're going back to get my van and we're gonna get the hell out of here.
Pardon me.
If we can. I'm still not sure about that thing the mayor was talking about. What thing? A monster or something. Mayor told us it's killing people that are trying to leave.
Leo stares.
Has the town really gone that fucking insane?
Kudzu shrugs.
There were bodies. Jesus.
Leo looks around.
Well, it still sounds like bullshit, but if there is anything, we'll be fine if we leave in a car.
The motel is closer. We can use my car instead.
Sure.
Duke is still staring at me with a hard look. I get the feeling that despite all the things we just told him, he's not buying it. Leo hauls the weasel off the chair, getting a little squeak of pain from Duke as he's forced to break eye contact with me. What about the others?
We're gonna try to find everyone we can before we leave, but the priority is to get ourselves to a police station.
Leo pulls me to stand in front of him before gesturing at Kudzu.
Kud, take the gun. Safety's off now.
Yeah.
Kudzu visibly frowns as I hand it to him.
Yeah, sorry about that. I want Chase between us. I don't trust these fuckers to not try anything, especially if Brian comes back.
So with Kudzu leading the way, we make our way to Brian's house and into the night. It's quieter this time around as we head out onto the deserted night street.
Seems like things have settled a little, at least.
His fur is still bristled out in the back of his neck. I'm starting to worry about him. He's been tense even considering the situation we're in.
Keep your eyes peeled anyway. Of course.
I've also been sensing a strange sort of tension between the two of them. It can probably be put up to the situation currently at hand, though. We're all on edge. I can see the motel ways down the road, but ominously, the lights are all out. Duke has gone quiet for the most part. I wonder if he's just given up or if he's planning something. Hopefully, it's the former.
I'm not really seeing anything out of the ordinary here. Trust me, things are fucked up.
Past the diner in the moonlight, glistening softly off its metal edges. A dark, sick feeling sets in as I stare at the black windows. That's where it all started. Should we check to see if she's still in there? Hell no! Leo's quite behind me for a moment, then clears his throat.
Don't see why we need to do that.
Oh no. Tell the cops about it or something.
If the cops haven't been there, then I'm sure she's still in there. No use looking inside.
Alright.
Hey, it's gonna be alright. Okay?
Not for Janice. Leo doesn't say anything to that as we continue down the road. Finally reaching the motel parking lot.
Keep moving.
I look behind me and see that Duke stopped, still looking back at the diner. I see something. Oh
What?
no, is it time? Kutu steps too and looks back at us. Something. I look at the diner, but I see nothing moving in the windows or in front of it. It's way too dark to see anything in there anyway. Leo prods at Duke's back, but the weasel refuses to move, rooted in the spot.
Am I gonna have to carry you?
Leo lets go of Duke for just a moment, reaching up to turn him around, probably to throw the weasel over his shoulder. But before he can do that, Duke screams long and loud, and it raises all the hairs on the back of my neck. Before Leo can stop on the wheel, takes off into the night away from the diner toward a grouping of trees and bushes on the side of the road. Leo curses and immediately goes after him. That's probably not a good idea. Kudzu starts to follow.
Don't follow me. Wait by the car.
Leo shouts over his shoulder before disappearing into the brush. Then, more faintly,
And watch Chase.
Kudzu and I stare into the darkness, listening to the two of them crash through the brush before fading into silence. After a few minutes, Kudzu rubs his head and turns to me.
Well, guess we should get to the car then.
I frown, not really worried that Duke can do much. What? I frown, not really worried that Duke can do much to Leo, but rather that they'll run into someone that could. It shouldn't be that hard to catch him. He's in handcuffs.
Duke can be fast when he wants to be.
Fuck. Feel like we should have gone with him. I keep staring into the darkness of the brush, and Kudzu puts a hand on my shoulder as he passes.
Don't worry. Leo can take care of himself. Especially when he's up against someone like Duke. A handcuffed Duke.
Yeah. Reluctantly, I follow the raccoon. Leo's brief presence had been so strong and reassuring, it's kind of jarring to be without it again. Ugh, God damn it, Chase. At the same time, though, it's not all that different with Kudzu. Leo's just more overpowering with it, I guess. I fish my keys out of my pocket and suddenly realize where they're at. Hey, we should check our room. Jen and TJ might be in there. Maybe some of the others. Kudzu looks at the dark motel, scanning rows of doors. Yeah, we should, but
Yeah, we should. But I think we should wait for Leo. I don't really trust anyone right now.
I realize he's implying that one of my friends could have gone insane too, and I also realize I can't blame him. From what I saw and what I've heard, TJ might be acting the same way as Duke. That thought causes my stomach to turn sickly.
Listen, I gotta pee real quick, okay?
Okay.
I'm just gonna go over behind that corner.
He points over the side of the motel. No problem. I'm just a little annoyed that everyone is acting like I'm a little kid that needs to be watched.
Cool. Be right back.
Kudzu does a little jog away before disappearing around the corner. I lean back to the door of the car, swinging the keys around the finger. It's completely quiet now, and I haven't heard a single gunshot since we got outside. I wonder if everyone that's been fighting is dead now. Or maybe they just realized how ridiculous the mayor's story was and left. Thinking about this supposed monster that I definitely don't believe in, though, has me looking over my shoulder in the darkness. Images of a hanging body crossing my mind. Shit. Look over to where Kudzu went. It's been a little while now. Shouldn't he be done by now? A pop from the brush across the street makes me jump. Leo? The voice comes out in a whisper. There's definitely something there. Fuck, it's back. Its form stands out just a shade darker than the trees behind it. It might be a bush, but it looks thin, like a person. I squint. That's the one I see the glint of two eyes in the darkness. I freeze. Whoever it is, they're not responding. Fuck, did Chase kill Sydney by mistake? Because they said that they like to use him as a submarine, and fuck, maybe that's the secret TJ's been hiding because he doesn't want to destroy the friendship group.
Mhm.
Maybe TJ was a witness. Whoever it is, they're not responding to me, and that's definitely not a good sign. Decided that I'm just not going to move until Kudzu gets here. Yeah, and if it does move, I'll just run over to where Kudzu went. I don't think he'll mind me catching him with his pants down. There's a fucking psychopath chasing after us. I see a thick tail swish on the side of the dark thing. Slowly, I feel behind myself for the keyhole to the car door, sliding the key and unlocking it. Actually, I'll just get in the car and footsteps to my right. Duke, his eyes wild, is on me in an instant. He slams into me as hard as I'm so hard I'm sent to the asphalt with an impact that rattles. Hold on. My brain. Thank you. I roll over groggily and see Duke bent over, his hand fumbling to the ground. Somehow he's moved his handcuff hands from behind himself to the front. I realize that I don't have my keys anymore, and the same time that Duke stands up, keys in hand. Kudzu! I yell and reach for Duke, who dodges away, throwing some kicks at me before yanking my open car. Fuck. I lunge for the handle, but I see the weasel slam the lock just as I reach it. Kudzu comes running around the corner as Duke starts up the cart. Duke! I shout, oh shit! I shout uselessly as Duke peels out, yanking the handle, the grass forcing me to hop back from step to stop being run over. Of course I think that Duke's just going to take off down the road and get the hell out of Echo. I have no idea what he's going I have no idea that he's going to turn sharply in the parking lot and come straight for me.
Chase!
Kudzu screams at me just 20 feet away now. But there's no time. The car's coming at me. I jump to the left, but Duke easily follows my movement. See the license plate in the headlights, which Duke hasn't turned on. I jump and land on the hood of the car as it hits me. I feel my body, oh boy. This is
Now
bringing...
you can relate even more.
Aha! I feel like my body is falling through the air. I see the stars and the moon. And then I land.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
The desert
what's
stretches and the
this?
winds into the distance, rising and failing with the mountains, hills, and valleys. It's endless, monolithic, passionless. Except here. Its mark is clear on the land, like a stain, a blemish, in the beige patchwork of the wilderness. The earth's bad, the air's bad, everything's tainted. I just realized this town's a fucking pet cemetery. Tainted. Maybe not like demons inhabiting a husk pet cemetery, but something dies here, it comes back. The mark is old, it's ancient, but here longer than all people. Wait, been here longer than people, all people. And they knew it too. Everyone who's been here knows it. So do you, even though you're not from here. You were drawn to the stain like all the other evil that's planted itself here. You can see it right through the otter's eyes. You see its influence stretch above you like black tendrils into the dark red sky. They reach for anything alive to stain anything they touch. So it is, so it will always be.
Chase!
Damn it. They're goggly up at the face above me, a swirling mess of gray and black before I'm able to focus on the nose just inches away from me. I crosses my eyes, which hurts, so I close them again.
Chase.
The voice is gentler this time, though no less concerned. I try to reach my hand to assure whoever it is that I'm fine. I feel soft velvety sensation of an ear catch between My fingers and the person above me stills. What happened? You guys okay? Mumble thickly past lips that don't seem to cooperate with words that don't seem to make sense.
Are you? He hit you really hard.
I feel a hand run down the top of my head like it's looking for something.
Did you hit your head?
Feel my own head keeping my other hand resting on Kudzu's head. That's right, Kudzu. I push myself up suddenly, realizing where I am and what just happened. Look around into the night, the surreal feeling of regaining consciousness and this nightmarish making it all more horrific. It's nightmare. Shit, where is he? Try to push myself up and Kudzu holds down firmly.
Duke, you took off somewhere?
Kudzu looks around, his ears pointed up as if listening before looking back down at me as I tried to sit up again.
You need to stay down for now. Something might be injured.
Are we almost done?
I think there's... no.
Oh, Jesus. I think I'm okay. All right, then I might save and quit when you're ready to leave then.
I have like 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. Okay, I think I'm okay. Just a little bit out of it. It's okay. Gazes down at me for a moment. I'm left staring into his deep dark eyes. That's when the sound of feet slapping against the asphalt breaks the spell and Kudzu looks behind himself.
What the hell?
Oh no, Leo, don't
Duke
be this
just...
way.
It was suddenly shoved roughly. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh man, is he pissed off that Kudzu couldn't protect Chase? Or that's what it looks like?
What the fuck happened?
Desperately looks at me down as he holds me in his arms.
Did he shoot you?
What? No, he just hit me with a car. Leo's eyes widen with his ears shoot up. He suddenly turns his attention to Kudzu and Heckle's rays.
What the fuck were you doing, Kud? Why weren't you watching him?
Oh shit, is he going crazy? Kudzu puts his back then glares.
He came out of nowhere, Leo. We were both trying to stop him.
See Leo working himself up to shout something else, but that's when I push myself out of his strong grip. But the circumstances, I'm bristling at the way I'm being coddled. Leo, he was driving a fucking car. There wasn't anything he could do. Standing, I feel an achy sensation in my back and my head spins a little. I brace my hands on my knees and wait for it to subside.
I don't think you should be standing so soon.
I'm fine. So now that I am standing, I'm not completely sure of that. Worrying twinges and creaks pang throughout my body, but I force myself to straighten up, facing the other two. I need to keep moving, find the others, and get out of here. Leo moves up next to me, a big paw reaching out to wrap around my shoulder. I cringe, though, and Leo takes his hand back.
You need me to carry you, honey?
Oh, don't you fucking start again!
Mm-hmm.
I grimace and shake my head, mostly because I feel like being slung over his back would be even worse. He settles and rubbing my back gently, eyes looking me over as if trying to spot some unseen injury.
Let's get the hell to Peyton.
Kudzu coughs awkwardly.
We've lost the car, though.
Oh yeah, my heart sinks. Even now in the situation we're in, I'm a little angry that it was my car that was stolen. I worked hard to buy that thing, even if it was a junker. Leo shakes his head like it's a mild annoyance.
Then we'll just have to use my van instead.
That's probably a better idea.
Spruce
Yep.
back to his house, though.
I don't want to go back there. Leo looks up the road in the direction of the diner, where he left it 2 days ago. Wait, let's at least check the motel, see if any of the others are in our room.
Otter, I'm sure that the others have gotten out by now.
I mean, we haven't heard anything from them though, and wouldn't they have brought the police or something? He looks back at the motel, chewing his lip.
Alright, but let's be fucking quick about it. We need to get the hell out of here so we can get everyone's help.
Yeah, real quick. I reach into my back pocket, pulling out the key card. As I hobble in the direction of the room on the other side building, Kudzu reaches out to me.
You need help?
Leo shoulders
Oh,
the
Jesus,
raccoon
Lee.
aside as he practically jumps at my side, gently pressing a hand into my back again. Oh no.
Stay close, Otter. Not gonna let something like that happen to you again.
I try to ignore the tension I feel between the building and the other two.
This
More
is
than
where-
anything, I'm annoyed
yeah,
at Leo. Yeah, no,
yeah.
so am I. Why is he acting like this? Sure, he was always a
I
little
wonder.
jealous, but right now, in the middle of this hellscape of chaos, I shake my head, allowing the wolf to guide me with his hand as we turn the corner to the motel. Kuzo stays close behind us, but I look back at him and give him a small smile to show that I at least appreciate his concern. Gives me a short nod back, but otherwise doesn't say anything. Like most of this town, the back of the motel is completely deserted as far as I can see. Another pop that's probably a gunshot echoes in the distance, but I'm thankful they aren't happening every minute like earlier. Again, I wonder if it's because everyone's dead. As fucked up as it is, I think that might be a good thing for us, as long as it doesn't involve any of my friends. We reach the door of the motel and my heart sinks again. There's no light coming from the window. Shakingly, I raise the keycard and press it against the lock, only to accidentally drop it. I started to bend over, pick it up, but Leo puts my hand on my shoulder, speaking gently into my ear.
Don't move.
Oh no, here we go again. He sweeps the card and presses it to the lock. He flashes green, and I hear electric buzz of the lock coming unlatched before Leo presses down the door handle and pauses. His other hand suddenly reaches out behind me toward Kuzo.
Kudzu, hand me my gun. I'll give you Dukes.
Kuzo stares at the hand for a moment, then jumps as if suddenly realizing what the wolf is talking about.
Oh, right.
Kuzo lifts his shirt, fumbling with the waistband before pulling out the gun. He hands it to Leo and in turn hands him Duke's gun. He checks the safety on his own before pointing it towards the door. Leo pauses again and glances at me.
Otter, behind me.
Nods back to the wall next to the door. Only feel a little twinge of resentment at being treated like a child again, but too eager to check the room to say anything. Finally, Leo gives the door a gentle shove, allowing it to swing open on its own. I can't see anything from behind Leo, but judging by the look on Kuzo's face next to me, they don't see anything. I realize why Leo slowly reaches inside flips the light switch. I can't resist to peek around. Okay, yeah. Sorry. I'm like getting antsy now. I don't know what
Slow
was
down. Chill
I-
out. Chill.
I don't know what I was
Nothing bad's gonna happen.
I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe a blood spotted room with all our friends' bodies piled in the middle or something. Instead, though, it's basically just how I remembered it. I even see my pajamas crumpled up on the side of the bed where I left them. Leo holds steady for a moment, keeping the gun pointed at the ceiling of the room. Finally, he leans in, whispering loudly, "Hello?"
Hello?
There's no response. Leo just waits a while longer before finally moving forward slowly. I don't wait for Leo's approval to follow, and closely behind him, Kudzu just behind me. There isn't much to search in the motel, having just the room and the bathroom to check. Once Leo's sure it's clear, I shut the door and lock it before turning the other two. Just so we know we're safe for now, at least. Oh no, Leo shakes his head.
We gotta keep moving, Chase. We should head to my place now.
Oh no. I open Jenna's laptop on the table, pushing the power button.
Come on, what are you doing?
Leo shifts his weight from one foot to the other. Kudzu moves to stand next to me.
Checking the internet?
I was hoping to. I sigh as I stare at the password screen. Well, let me check with my phone. Leo sighs again.
That's not gonna help us. I have Wi-Fi calling.
Leo sighs again and sits heavily on the bed, bending in like a bow. He sets his gun beside the table before rubbing his face vigorously with both hands. You okay? Staring Leo's been on edge is an understatement. And sure, we're all fucked up right now, but the way the wolf's been acting, it's like he's a different person. Leo lets his hand slide down his face so he can peer me over at his fingertips. He examines me for a while, then finally reaches out with both hands.
Come here, Chula.
Oh, don't you fucking call me that right now. I almost hesitate. I'm not sure why. I walk over to him and stand in front of the wolf before he reaches out and pulls me down into his lap. Then he presses my head against his chest before wrapping his arms around me. He starts stroking the back of my neck gently, and it makes me shiver. It all feels a little forced, and we don't meld together naturally like we always do. Oh
I'm sorry
boy.
about letting all of this happen. I should have told the police when Duke started threatening earlier.
Do you know what's happening? Leo takes another breath, and his broad chest swells against my cheek before he blows it out, roughing the fur on my head.
I don't know. I really don't.
I notice Kudzu standing to the side, trying not to look at us. Any internet? Kudzu looks up and shakes his head. No, I can't find the network.
Find the network.
Sorry, damn it.
Did that bear do anything to you?
The hesitation in Leo's voice makes it clear what he's really asking, in a sense like he's been wanting to ask for a while. No, he just tied me up for a while. I guess he technically did do more in a way. but I don't want to go into that right now. The whole incident actually seems like a long time ago already. And this is murder getting near raped by Brian, trying to kill Brian. I feel like there's a numbness in my chest that's dampening my emotions right now, and everything feels like it's far away from me. I wonder if that's some kind of psychological response to what's happening, and if I'll be fucked up after this. Oh, this is over, probably. But I kind of welcome the numbness right now. It at least helps me deal with what's happening a little easier. Okay, Matt, it's been a little while now. Do you want to end it now, or do I want to read a few more?
You might want to read a few more.
All right. Jenna would probably be able to tell me what's happening right now if she were here. Of course, that makes me wonder where she and the others are. And it makes me want to get out there and find them, because as much as I want to get the hell out of this place, I feel kind of responsible for them. I did drag them all here after all.
I'm gonna get you out of here. I promise.
Leo breathes into my ear and squeezes me a little tighter. I have to hold back a wince and twinge as he goes through my back. I have a feeling that I'm going to be very sore tomorrow. Suddenly lift my head to look back at Kudzu. What time is it? Kudzu takes his phone from his pocket to check. 3:45. Jesus. I stare at him. Are you serious? That means it's only been a little more than an hour since we left Kudzu's place. I was hoping that daylight would be a bit closer than that. He slumps down in the chair at the table.
It's what my phone says.
Continue to rest my head against Leo's chest, listening to him breathe. Glance up at him and see that his eyes are closed as he continues to stroke my back of my head. About to tell him that we should get moving again when I think I hear something. It's a soft snuffling sound, like someone's covering up their sniffing. Lay there against Leo, not moving as I continue to listen. A full 10 seconds go by, it happens again. And this time I think it's coming from below us, under the bed. Look up at Leo again and wonder how to tell him I heard something without saying it loud. Honestly, with the massive wolf ears, he should have heard it before. I reach up and poke his chin. Leo shakes his head a bit around the poking, but otherwise doesn't open his eyes. I frown and reach up further, touching his cheeks. He leans into it. Leo. I barely whisper to him. Suddenly he does open his eyes, and at this point my ears nothing listen. I see his ears comically perk up as his eyes looking around the ceiling, motion down to the bed. I can see Kudzo to the side of his chair, eyeing us curiously, not saying anything otherwise, thankfully. This time the snuffing sound is quite a bit louder, and I feel Leo's fur rise up on his arms. It was definitely a person, or something living and breathing. At least it definitely came from under the bed. I think I know who that is. Leo slowly, gently pushes me off his lap, motioning me. Slowly, he leans over and grabs the gun. He stands backing up from the bed, then crouching slowly with the gun pointed as he looks under the bed. I see Leo pause, staring, and then he reaches out and grabs whatever it is and yanks hard. The scream is loud and piercing. Whatever it was sounded like a terrified child. It thrashes and kicks at Leo. And then it's clawing frantically at the carpet to get back under the bed, and I realize who it is. I fucking knew it! I shout his name, confused and terrified myself.
What the hell? Calm down.
Leo's got both hands on TJ's ankles, trying to keep him still while at the same time not getting gouged by toe claws. I moved closer, though, not enough to get clawed by the lynx, and try to crouch in his line of sight. TJ, it's us. Are you okay? The look in his eyes is wild and desperate and feral. I reach out for his wrist, and he immediately slashes at me with his other hand.
Chase, stay back.
I fall back on my butt and scoot away a little, wide-eyed. I've never seen TJ like this. Of course I haven't. I can't imagine what have made him like this. I scabble up and stand next to Kudzu, who's just as wide-eyed as me. Despite that, he sidesteps a little in front of me, as if to shield me from the insane TJ. Leo finally drops the cat's legs before TJ can scramble back under the bed. Leo jumps on his back. I wince, as I'm sure I can hear TJ deflate like a tire from Leo's weight. The wolf snatches up TJ's arms, pinning them against his back, and leans over the lynx, shouting into his ear.
TJ, stop. Stop fighting. It's Leo.
TJ continues to writhe, making weird yowling noises that I've never heard him make before.
TJ, it's me. It's your friends. We're here to help you, man.
Leo's voice is quieter now, more soothing as he tries to calm the crazed lynx. It seems to be working as far as TJ's violent thrashing lessons, his yelling fading out, more and more feeble whining sounds.
See, I'm here now. You're gonna be fine.
Only TJ's head falls to the carpet, everything going limp.
And this is a good spot to end it.
Right here? Okay, cool.
Yep.
I don't want to
Yeah,
keep
we had a
you
bit of a time skip there.
because I don't wanna keep you late. You gotta go
It's
in
all
it.
good.
Yeah, you gotta go in soon. All right. Oh boy. Okay. Guess we're not finishing this today, but soon. We're gonna finish this soon. All right. I even want to do my intro. Oh, I'm so exhausted. All right. Well, I hope you all had a good time. I'll try to finish this another time, sometime next week. We won't know. Me and Blanc won't know our schedules until evening today.
Yeah.
So yeah, once we get our schedules, I'll post. We'll organize and figure out the day to end this because oh my god, I just want this to end now.
Want it to be over.
Yes, and then do it again.
And then do it again and again and again.
No, I'm out of here.
All right, later. Thanks. Have a great day at work, and hopefully, I hope y'all had a good time. We might be back later with. I don't know. Do you still want to do Breath of the Wild? It's not too late. I never want to keep you
No,
up.
it's 8 o'clock right now.
It's,
I'll see if Corey wants to do dark time. Maybe we can do that.
oh, maybe we could do that. All right. Well, see y'all later.